What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're checking out what Weiss Schwarz sets had been announced at the Bushiroad TCG summer presentation. Now this is a Japanese conference presentation, so of course the sets announced are for Japanese only at the moment. We won't know just yet if it comes to English or not. We have to wait and see. But first up we had Licorice Recoil Premium Booster. So we're getting a premium set for Licorice Recoil. We've got a couple of card reveals here. I guess standard premium booster set, it's going to be smaller booster boxes with, a nice shiny card in every single pack. So usually, like from a collector perspective, you get some really nice looking cards as long as they put enough shine and texture on each of those cards in the packs. So be nice to see how those cards come out, but that's all we've got for that at the moment, with a release date of November the 15th. Next up, we've got a massive one. We've got ReZero Volume 3. Which is huge. I'm really excited and just, really good to see this being announced. For those that don't know, we already have 3 ReZero sets in Weiss Schwarz. They came out quite some time ago, so it does feel like this is long overdue. Even when I started collecting Weiss Schwarz, those ReZero sets had already been out and were very hard to obtain if you wanted to get a box to open, and even the card. So these sets, these older ReZero sets, because the TCG didn't really have as many collectors as it does now, some of those SPs from those old sets are very expensive cards. And actually, since this announcement, I have seen some graded cards of the older ReZero sets go up for sale in English. So this is obviously Japanese announcement. I would expect this to come to English based on the other 3 sets. You may be thinking, Volume 3, how is there 3 sets? So we had Volume 1, Volume 2, and then there was another set, Frozen Bonds, I believe it was called. Don't know why they dropped volume from it. But that's, it is what it is, right? So really good to see this. Really excited for this. Popular IP, and a lot of female characters in this series, in this set. And they were extremely collectible for those older sets. So what would be interesting here is, are they going to go back and reprint those older sets? Because usually when they bring out a new volume of a set that's previously been out, they go back and reprint them. Now, I don't know who, let me know in the comments if it's a playability thing, because do they do it? I know they mention like on the site that they do it so people who have come in recently or in the past few years who weren't around when those first sets came out, they can experience getting those sets. Now, I don't know if that is because if you want to play a ReZero deck, you're going to need some cards from those old sets along with Volume 3. If you know, drop it down below in the comments. I'll be really interested to know if that's the reason, or if it's simply because they just want to reprint the older sets because it's coming out as well. So will be really interesting to see. I suspect that's why I've seen some for sale, because potentially people might be speculating that it's getting a reprint. Obviously, this is way off. We're talking, June. Oh no, that's the repost. Again, we're talking November, and that's Japanese. So then by the time it comes to English, you guys know that sometimes it takes extremely long for sets to come out in English. You could be another year, or it could be another 3 months from the Japanese release. And not only that, but another interesting thing, if it does get a reprint, are those older sets going to get silver signatures or not? We'll have to see. Typically, they give older sets on those reprints silver signatures. If you look at Attack on Titan final season, when that came out, the older sets didn't get those silver signatures. Some people speculated that was because in one of those older sets, Volume 2, the signatures were coloured. We had green, red, like different colour signatures depending on the character. Now, in some of the ReZero sets, we have the same thing. We've got blue, pink signatures. So, either way, whether it gets a reprint and what they do with the signatures will be very interesting to see. I feel like Attack on Titan potentially was a bit rushed, so that might be why they didn't get signatures, but silver signatures. But we will just have to wait and see. It will be interesting. Regardless, this will be really nice, because when I started collecting Weiss Schwarz, I wasn't around when a new ReZero set came out, so this will be really cool. I'd imagine it's coming to English like the other sets did. So I'm looking forward to opening it. when it finally comes out in English. I'll probably get a box in Japanese, to be fair, to open on the channel, because yeah, it's still going to be an exciting set to open. Next up, we've got Fantasia Bunko Volume 2. So again, for those that don't know, Fantasia Bunko Volume 1, it was a Japanese only set, didn't come to English. The Bunko sets are light novel sets. These are light novel publishing companies, which means all of the art is kind of like light novel manga style art, not screenshots from the anime and things like that. So usually the Bunko sets are very high quality and the cards just look amazing. Not only that, but this particular Bunko set that came out quite some time ago now, it was very lewd. It's a very sexualized kind of set, making it very expensive. Like even now the booster boxes are several $100 set just to buy a loose box, which potentially has nothing in, could be dead. And yeah, the cards inside, they're worth a lot of money. Yeah, typical lewd kind of anime set that just goes crazy in terms of price. So a volume 2 of that is coming. So that is a huge announcement. But not only that, we've also got Nikke Bunko Volume 2. Again, very similar to that last Bunko set. It is a mix of IPs because they are light novel publishing company. So within the set, you're going to have loads of different IPs. The card art will be very detailed and just very similar. I don't know if you've seen the Sword Art Online had a manga light novel set that only came out in Japanese. And again, it's one of my favorite Sword Art Online sets because it just looks amazing. From those hand-styled sort of like manga drawings, they just look so much nicer. And this one, Nikke Bunko, is very similar to the Fantasia Bunko in the sense that, again, it's very lewd, sexualized kind of set, and therefore lots of people were wanting to open this, collect it, potentially play it. So the chase cards, even the booster boxes are expensive. And yeah, they've announced a volume 2. So I think so far, like, the announcements have been really big. I don't think anyone would have potentially guessed either of these Bunko sets getting a volume 2 to be announced at this conference. So yeah, very surprising, but good news, I guess, for a lot of people that are into Weiss Schwarz and are into those kind of sets. And then last up, another massive thing. We've got Nikke, Goddess of Victory. For those that don't know, this is a set that Union Arena had released in Japanese a few months ago now. It sold out. It was so far one of the most popular Union Arena sets, probably tied with the Sword Art Online Union Arena set. That is because this is based on a mobile game. I think you can get it on Windows and PC now as well. It's a third-person shooter with all these like waifu characters in lewd outfits. If you just Google it and watch some gameplay, it will make sense from that perspective. But yeah, all of the cards, like those chase cards in Union Arena, they've got signed signature cards. Not only that, but they had a pen signed serialized card as well. But even some of those signed cards that you're getting, probably one per case because I think they're 2-star SRs. Some of those just signature cards are worth, you're looking at $1,000, right? So yeah, all the characters, you've got a lot of lewd cards in there as well for these characters. And yeah, it went down very well to the point that they reprinted it. But in the reprint that they've announced, obviously there won't be pen-signed serialized cards, but you'll still have the signature cards that are stamped on there. What's interesting here is obviously Weiss Schwarz announcing the same IP. Now, this is very common for Japanese TCGs. There's so many Japanese TCGs where every set is a different IP. They often get the same IPs. It happens all the time. Now, obviously, in the West, for English TCGs, that's just not common at all. Weiss Schwarz is pretty much the first one to do it in English. Obviously, we are getting Union Arena come out in English later this year. But yeah, just from that perspective, like, it's extremely common that Japanese TCGs get the same IPs. What would be interesting here is just to see how it does, because Weiss Schwarz don't do pen-signed serialized cards. They do hot stamped signature cards. I'd assume they're going to be able to get the signatures for this one if Union Arena had those same kind of hot stamp signatures in the set as well. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this does. I guess the announcement probably came at a really good time in terms of Union Arena announcing a reprint but confirming there's no pen signed serial card. From a playability standpoint, like if you only play Weiss Schwarz, you don't play Union Arena, this is obviously great news. This is Japanese. We don't know if it's coming to English yet or not, but I actually tell a lie because we do. They did post that this set, Nikke, is actually coming out in multiple languages. So the English Weiss Schwarz Twitter page did post that. They reposted the Japanese announcement to say it's coming out. So stay tuned. So although Union Arena was the first to market for Japanese, it's potentially going to be Weiss Schwarz that will be first to market with this IP for English. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, to watch. As I said, like if you play the games, you know, it's going to be great news if you play Weiss Schwarz because now you can get the set. From a collector perspective though, collectors obviously aren't as loyal to a TCG as players are. Players have invested so much time into learning the game, decks, improving, meta, all of that stuff. You can just pick up another card game, but it's very different. It's so much more time involved. But a collector will sometimes just buy things that they look nice. Like someone might just really like Demon Slayer and be like, oh, I'm just going to buy that $50, £50 Demon Slayer card on eBay because it looks really nice. Now, obviously, other collectors might care about value, care about the card game, and put a lot more thought into when they pick up things. But as a whole, like in general, collectors are just nowhere near as loyal to certain card games as a player would be. From that side of things, they can switch a lot easier, and they just want to buy it because it looks nice. So it will be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Japanese Weiss Schwarz Nikke release does, and kind of trying to compare that to the Union Arena Nikke release. I know they've had a reprint, but I think even with that reprint, it's going to be very interesting to compare, like how much is out of stock. I know we can't really see like confirmed sales on Ute, but we can see like what's in stock and where prices are. So where what are the prices for Union Arena's signed cards versus Weiss Schwarz signed cards for the same set? I think that'd be really interesting to check out when it comes out in Japanese. But yeah, that's all the announcements on the Japanese side of things for Weiss Schwarz. Which ones will come to English? I think obviously ReZero, Licorice Recoil is probably a given. The Bunko sets, I don't know. You know, we've got Dengeki Bunko coming out in English, which surprised a lot of people. Now, does that mean we get these other two Bunko sets come out in English? I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Will we get Nikke in English? That's already confirmed. So I guess it's just the question of whether these two Bunko sets eventually come out to English. I think either way, I wouldn't be massively surprised. Like if these don't come to English, it wouldn't really surprise me based on the fact that we didn't get the first volumes out in English. But if they do, then obviously that's going to be really good news and a very popular set. So yeah, that's all for the video today. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.